Thank you, everyone. I greatly appreciate everyone in this room today. I am in great company. I feel very honored to be here. And while that sounded, it always makes me very humbled to hear all of that before we get into our presentation today. I wanted to share a little bit about my background with the room and why I am where I am today. I grew up in a very rural area in Ohio. It was a very impoverished area in Appalachia. My mother and father grew up very poor. My parents were very active in substance use. My father passed away when I was 17 years old, and I ended up homeless and living in a homeless shelter by myself as a transitional age youth. I lived in that homeless shelter in a very rural area by myself for about 6 months. That experience was an amazing experience for me. It taught me not only a lot about myself, but about the kind of person I wanted to be. When I was small, I was always very sensitive. I was very sensitive to the world. I was very aware. I knew that I was put on this earth to make the world a better place. And by seeing the social worker that worked with me, it was the first kind of adult that really believed in me and kind of set me on a path. I knew that if ever given that opportunity to give back, I wanted to take that opportunity. So as I went through learning about social work and furthering my education, I worked at the American Red Cross. So I went to Hurricane Katrina, 9/11, really exploring what it meant to give back and furthering my mission to make the world a better place. And then I went on to work with seniors and elderly. But I'm very bossy, so I always ended up in leadership positions because I've always liked to make decisions. But I truly love working with individuals, and obviously I have 5 rescue dogs, so that doesn't just stop at individuals. I am no longer allowed to go to PetSmart on Saturday because I can't say no. So then this opportunity for the CEO of Welcome House came up, and it really spoke to me. And I said, man, what an opportunity would that be for me to be able to give back the same way that that social worker that worked with me when I was 17 years old, that I could give back to somebody the way somebody changed my life. So even though I was from Ohio, I did go to UK, so people let me stay. And they gave me a chance. And I've been here for 7 years, and it has been such an amazing experience to see the way our agency changes lives. And I just want to share a little bit about how our agency gives back and how our agency serves others. So at Welcome House, to share a little bit about our mission, and some of you may know about Welcome House, and a lot of people may know us about our shelter. A lot of people are familiar. Our agency has been in the community for 40 years. A lot of people know us about that shelter on Pike Street. Our mission is to provide a continuum of services that will end homelessness and promote stability for each person that we serve. Our vision is to be the leader in guiding clients from housing uncertainty to housing stability. And we accomplish that by providing a continuum of services such as housing, service coordination, outreach, and stability. So really understanding the need. So a lot of people are familiar, they'll pass the street corner and see somebody holding up a sign saying that they're homeless and they need assistance. And by the way, a lot of those people are generally housed and will be on the corner, looking for additional ways to make money. So according to the January 2022, the point in time count, so HUD, the federal government, Housing and Urban Homeless Department, does what's called a point in time count every year. So usually in January, all of the local agencies across the United States will do what they call a point in time count, where communities will go out and they will count people who are outside. It is not a perfect count, but that's what they do. They count people who are in shelters and count people who are out on the street one night out of the year. So there are almost 600,000 people who are experiencing homeless on any given night across the United States. In 2023, for Kentucky's point in time count, there were almost 2,400 individuals experiencing homelessness in the state of Kentucky. The Homeless and Housing Coalition of Kentucky state that there's probably almost 90,000 units that are not available. We're 90,000 units, affordable housing units short in the state of Kentucky, which is one of the largest predictors of homelessness. It's not substance use, it's not mental health, it's housing vacancy rates and affordable housing units available. 1 in 4 Kentuckians pay more than 30% of their income towards housing. Welcome House provides over 5,000 individuals a year services in our programs. So you look at the state of the Kentucky point in time count, 2,400, we provide services in all of our programs to over 5,000 individuals. So how do we do this? What services does Welcome House provide? And like I said earlier, a lot of people know us as the shelter on Pike Street, which we are no longer on Pike Street. We've had the blessing and the opportunity to move our shelter services from the 1,800 building on Pike Street to a brand new 20,000 square foot facility over on Greenup Street, where we expanded our bed nights, or our bed capacity, from 35 individuals up to 65 individuals. We can now serve, instead of just single moms and single moms with kids, now we can serve single dads, 2-parent families, single moms with kids, and single women. So we divide our services into acute and non-acute. So our acute services are people who are actively outside, who really need that immediate assistance. We do that through our street outreach program. So our street outreach teams are out in the field. They're out building connections, because we have people who are living under underpasses. They're out on the riverbanks. They're out in farm communities. Not only do we provide services in the 8-county region just in northern Kentucky, we provide services in through 40 counties throughout the state of Kentucky, not just in northern Kentucky. We're meeting individuals where they are. We also provide medical services. We have a nurse that goes out with a medical RV to provide dignified services for people. So for instance, we have a female who has a colostomy bag who's living outside. Previous to having this RV, we were providing dressing changes for that individual at the Kent County Library, which is very unsanitary, and there's no dignity in that. We're able to provide treatment in an RV with an office space, an exam table, to provide free care for people and then get them into physicians' offices. We're not meant to be that person's primary care. We're meant to build a trusting relationship so we can go with them to make sure that they're getting the medical care that they need. So once somebody forms a meaningful relationship with that person, maybe they're not ready, and that's okay. We love our individuals where they're at. We love our friends, no matter if they're okay staying outside and they're not ready, or maybe one day, we have a gentleman who has been outside since 1995. And one day he came to our street outreach team member, Frank, and said, "Frank, I'm ready. I may not live this winter if I stay outside." And we were like, "You know what, John, that's great. We're ready. We're here for you." And we were able to get him into housing, and guess what? He is still in housing today. And he was ready, and he had the relationship with Frank, and that's what we want to build. We want to love them where they're at. We don't make them feel guilty. We don't make them feel bad for what they're doing. If they're active in substance use, we're not telling them that they're wrong for doing that. We are going to love them where they're at. We're going to have them do harm reduction and teach them the safest way possible to do the things that they're active with. We're going to give them options like treatment when they're ready for those options, and build that relationship so when they are ready, we can help them. We have intake assessment and case management. So when people are ready to get housing, we're 100% housing focused. And what housing focused means is evidence-based shows that once somebody gets into housing, it is much easier to work on all their other things. So if they need mental health services, if they need treatment options, if they have a lot of other barriers, it is much easier to work through those things when they have a bed and someplace to sleep every night. When they have someplace that is steady and consistent, that it's much easier to work through all your other problems. I know when I'm slightly inconvenienced with no internet, I have a hard time working on a lot of other problems. I can't imagine if I didn't know where I was sleeping at night, or I didn't know where I was going to get my next meal, if I was going to be able to work through some of the other challenges that I had through the day. So our case managers work on getting people driver's license, birth certificates, social security cards, all the things that you need to be able to move on with any next step in your life. And then we house those documents with us. We'll do photocopies of them and hold them here, because when people are transient, things get stolen, they get ruined, and sometimes they don't have access to those things, so we will hold them there. We can also be an address for those individuals, so they can get mail at our location. Then we have shelter services. So we have multiple shelters. We have our one large shelter for the 2-parent families, single men with kids, single women with kids, and single women. We also have a shelter for veterans. So that is also on Greenup Street, and that is for 10 veterans who are looking for housing, who are active with VA services. And then we also have a recuperative care medical respite shelter. And that is for those that are experiencing homelessness, who have gone to the hospital or emergency room, or are active with a St. Elizabeth physician that need recuperative care. So maybe they have an active wound, maybe they're sick, they should not be discharged to the streets, so they'll come with us. We have a nurse that is there full time that will help provide them recuperative care and work on housing options for that individual. And then we have a Social Security outreach worker who works to get people connected with Social Security disability. And I will give you an example. We had an 18-year-old boy who was sleeping in our lobby, Randall. He was the sweetest kid. He was riding his bike to Erlanger every day to work at Wendy's third shift. He actually was hit by a car on his bike on his way to work one day. He came in, he was injured. We're like, what's going on? So we took him to the hospital. The doctor is then looking, evaluating him and said, did you know that he had a congenital heart defect and he shouldn't be working, let alone riding his bike? And he had just been so out of touch with his family for so long that he wasn't even aware of his own medical history. So we were able to work with his physicians to help him get Social Security disability. And then we were able to get him an income, and then an apartment, and then case management, and then a representative payee. So he's stably housed. He has all of his utilities. So now he's in housing, he's active, he's social, he's healthy, and he is living a very, very, very productive life. And he would have never known any of that. He was on a very, very, very detrimental path. And we're so fortunate that we have these services, and we're, having people that are able to engage with our population that can help get them the benefits that they need to be connected to. So then once we're able to get somebody stabilized in through one of our shelters or in through case management, where we've got a clear path of where we want them to go, then we move them on to our housing and supportive services team. And that's where we're focused on housing options. So we offer several different programs through our housing and supportive services. One of them is our rapid rehousing program, and that is a short to medium term rental assistance where we're building self-sufficiency. So we will pay somebody's rent for a short amount of time while they are looking for employment. Once that person becomes employed, they start to increase what they pay, and we back off what they pay, with the goal that they will be self-sufficient within 24 months. Our permanent supportive housing is if somebody in the home has a permanent disability and they've been homeless, we pay their rent indefinitely. So they pay, if they have SSI or SSDI, they will pay 30%, and then we pay their rent indefinitely. And we provide 24/7 case management for those folks, and those folks end up staying with us generally until they pass away. So a lot of people don't know this, but the average life expectancy for somebody who's experienced chronic homelessness is age 50. So unfortunately, these folks with us, the average life expectancy for these folks is not very long. We have tenant-based rental assistance and prevention, and those work very similar. If somebody comes to us that they are behind on rent, we can either pay past due rent and arrears, or we can pay a couple months on a new apartment. our representative payee program. So if somebody can't cognitively manage their funds, like I referenced Randall, we're able to manage their funds for them. So their checks come to us. We manage probably $1 million worth of participant money. Some of these individuals we've had since 1982. Since that was one of our first programs that we had when the agency opened. We pay all their bills. They have a savings account. We take them to the doctor. We take them grocery shopping. We give them spending money. We're basically their family because a lot of these individuals don't have anyone else. Gardens of Greenup is a 20-unit apartment complex that we own, and it is subsidized for people that have experienced homelessness that are single parents. So generally they come right from our shelter and then they go into this program where they build goals, self-sufficiency, and we work with them, and then our hope is to transition them onto market rate housing. And then we own several other subsidized housing projects throughout the city of Covington. So this is all of the areas where Welcome House provides services. So we don't provide all of those services in each in our area, but most we have street outreach and housing assistance programs. So our headquarters is in Northern Kentucky, Maysville, Moorhead, Lexington, Somerset, Owensboro, and we're moving into the Ashland 5-Co area here in a couple weeks. So this is our service and practice. Welcome House is a small but mighty nonprofit that is headquartered here in Northern Kentucky. We provide services to help people move from housing instability to housing certainty. Our mission here at Welcome House is to provide a continuum of services to end homelessness for all of those that we serve. And our vision is to make homelessness rare, brief, and non-recurring. We've been in the community for over 40 years, providing services and building upon those services to help the most vulnerable in our community. You know, the individuals that we work with on a day-to-day basis, you really don't necessarily see on the street corner maybe holding up a sign. You could pass a mom and kids at Target and never really know that they were homeless. They're trying to make things work and not draw attention to themselves and not put their kids at risk of being taken away. So it's a population that really is invisible to most people.
Hi, I'm Jessica Bacon, and I am a single mom of 3. We don't have much family here, it's just us. They are the highlight of my life, my children are, so they are my family.
My name is Taylor Cole. I'm a mother of 2, and I am a recovering addict, and I've been clean for 3 years now. I have a baby who's 1 year old, and I have a 5-year-old girl, but she does not live with me, but they're the most perfect things in my life.
4 years ago, I was going through a domestic situation, and I knew that I had to leave and protect my children, so I up and left. We had nothing. We were homeless at the time. I was afraid that I made the wrong decisions for me and my kids, and that was the scariest thing ever. I was praying as they were sleeping, and I was just praying that God, you know, if you could just help us out of this situation, then I'm gonna stay focused and I'm really gonna make something out of our lives.
I just wasn't happy where I was at. I was about to be homeless. I lost my job. I didn't know what I was gonna do.
The values that Welcome House embraces are compassion, integrity, leadership. We really involve community and that advocacy, that we're advocating for those without a voice. We're advocating for those people who can't necessarily advocate for themselves. So those are our core values that we embrace to make sure that we are delivering on our mission and our vision.
When I first came here, I only had about $500 to my name. So throughout 3 months, I literally stretched that for food, for gas, for a room and board. I had no idea how I made it. But I know when I got that call from Welcome House, I knew that it would be the next step for me to keep moving, keeping that momentum.
Our new building is here in Covington on Greenup Street, and we're really working hand in hand with the city of Covington. So that's why we felt very passionate about having our headquarters here.
I looked up the Welcome House and I saw a place called the Gardens of Greenup. the Welcome House, told me about like all the benefits they do. I came up and paid my rent, my deposit, my electric, and they got me into this beautiful apartment. They have been so good to me.
We provide multiple programs to be able to address and prevent homelessness. And we do that with our partners in the community. But what really sets us apart is that, we're providing 28 different programs to help assist that person throughout the process.
Throughout the course of Welcome House, they always gave us like hygiene products, utility services, mental health, job resources. Just basically, they appointed us to everything that we needed. That's why I love Welcome House. They were gonna make sure I had the essentials. Everything else is up to me. Having the essentials made everything easier as a mother.
I lost my job and I didn't know how to talk to my case manager, and she understood completely and she made me feel so much better, and she helped me find jobs and helped me look in everywhere, which is amazing. So I'm grateful for that.
I feel like if Welcome House didn't come in when they did, I would have felt like I had to go back. And that's the scariest thing that sometimes I even think about till today. Like, if Welcome House didn't help me, I would have ran out of funds.
If they saved my life, I would be on the streets without Welcome House. I got this beautiful apartment. I work at Jimmy John's. That's a good job, but I'm trying to move forward eventually to somewhere bigger.
Currently, I'm in culinary school. Hopefully, I'll be graduating in December. And I am going to open up my business called Everybody Loves Baking.
Every community needs to have a place where somebody falls down and they can get a hand up. And I'm so proud to be that place.
Knowing that the Welcome House has my back, and they always had my back, it gave me the confidence and the momentum to keep going, just to keep that drive.
A few years ago, when I was using, I didn't feel like anyone cared about me except for my daughter, When I got involved with the Welcome House, I've never felt love like I do now. They really care about you.
I know that my kids are happy, healthy, and positive, and that would not be possible if it was not for Welcome House. They laid the foundation for our family, and they laid the foundation for our future.
So I put this quote up here after that video because our theme is about our responsibility to others, and just showing a little bit about my story and how I feel that responsibility to others, and how I received that responsibility from the social worker who helped me, and how I feel and how I practice that responsibility to others, and how our staff and how our clients give that responsibility to others. And if you would ever want to get involved and provide and show your responsibility to others, there are always ways to get involved with our organization. If you should ever want to volunteer, if you should ever want to donate, you can visit our website. There's always ways to get involved. You can cook a meal for our shelter. You can donate. There's several Amazon wish lists online for our street outreach teams. Or always have water or protein bars or can openers or different things that we give out for people who are outside, people that are in shelter, like hygiene products or clothing, or different items when people get their new apartment. Our programs, which I'm very, 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 very proud of, have a 75% exits to positive housing rate for all of our programs, which is huge. So anybody who comes through our services, 75% of them exit to a positive housing destination. So that is our one key metric that we measure at our agency to say, are our programs and services being impactful? So we have a lot of people that are moving into new places all the time. So they need, and sometimes we get to the point where we can't give them a pot and pan set. We have to separate, like, you get a pot, you get a pan. Because that's all we have. So if you're ever interested in getting involved, if you're want to have that responsibility to others and give back, please visit our website, or I'll be around, or Natalie, who is our marketing and development coordinator, is here as well, as we have a table out there. So thank you very much for being here and listening to me speak. Thank you very much.